There are so many injuries. But you know what that means, though? You know what that means? Taysom Hill time, baby.
Welcome back to the Plays and Fades YouTube channel.
ASMR. Put some energy in it.
Welcome back. Anyway, another exciting week of NFL. Week
Energy.
9.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. I'm better than you. I meant him, not you guys. You guys are great. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. I am your host, Gordo Gamble, joined by this beauty of a man here, Kirode. Week 9, baby. It's time. It is week 9, right?
Yeah, it is week 9.
Wow.
Week 9.
Time flies. Coming off a pretty good week, actually.
26 to 11.
It was the Dolphins. They're facing the Jaguars this week, though.
That is...
They do a good sheep.
Anyway.
Goat. Speaking of goats, Tom Brady's on the slate. Oh no, Tom Brady's a bye week. What am I?
Tom Brady's Anyway, yeah, back for week 9. It's another exciting week in the NFL. Story of the week again is going to be the UFC card, obviously. Check out our UFC video. It's already out. But week 9 of NFL. Exciting week. And yeah, let's get into it.
Injuries are the name of the game this week. As always, running back position's looking a bit thinner. You know, you don't got Henry there anymore. Is McCaffrey back from IR? Who knows? Saquon Barkley hurt. Robinson questionable. Jacobs questionable. A lot of question marks this week. But that does not stop us from putting out some killer lineups and sniping those targets. All right, let's get it started though. Quarterback position. Who are we paying up for? Are we paying up for anyone? Are we paying down? The real question is Josh Allen going to be in our lineups again?
100% ownership through every single GPP, cash, it doesn't matter. Anyway, yeah, to start off with, we're going to start with Josh Allen. I mean, he's there at $8,200. He put up 30 points this past week, and he's playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. The only cautious thing maybe you should think about in this game is if this becomes a bit of a blowout, maybe he's not playing as much, just like we saw against the Texans, just like we saw against the Dolphins the first time. He didn't put up that many points because the games got out of hand quickly, but we expect him to be able to put up some touchdowns against this Jacksonville team.
And I mean, another person we look at too could be Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Chiefs, hello? Carter, are you mentally okay? We're looking at a cheaper option this week. Daniel Jones might not be a bad option, but the person we're liking the best at that low range is going to be Teddy Bridgewater again. He may not have had the best week last week, but he's facing a defense in the Cowboys who is reputably bad for air yards. And when you have someone at a price tag of 5.3K, you're able to do so many better things your options. And there's going to be a lot of wide receivers, which we will talk about shortly, who you want to pay up for. So we're preferring to pay up high at quarterback if you want to get Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Kyler Murray, anyone up there. But if you want to pay down, Bridgewater against that Dallas defense could be something good.
Moving on to the fade of the week. Insert Dirk Nowitzki fadeaway here. We got Patrick Mahomes. I mean, we saw him in Monday Night Football this week. Was not playing the greatest. Made some plays, but made a lot of errors. He almost threw 3 picks early in that game. He has not looked like himself at all. However, DraftKings still has him up here at $7,800. And on top of that this week, he's playing the Packers, who are a good team with some good defense. So not a great matchup and very inconsistent. He might score big, but there's also the possibility that he scores very low. So not a guy we think you should really be targeting in very many of your lineups.
If you want to pay that much, Kyler Murray $100 more. If he is healthy, he should be fine. Or pay down and get Aaron Rodgers. I do think he's the better side of that matchup. One person we forgot to mention, Lamar Jackson should also have a very favorable matchup as well. He's also a very good mid-range price tag. Moving right along to the running back position. And like we said earlier, injuries are the name of the game. So are we going to have CMC there? If he does play, if he is not restricted, 8K is a great price tag. But for someone to look at more, it's going to be Alvin Kamara. Most expensive on the slate for a very, very good reason.
Common translation is trauma.
Trauma? No. He is that number 1 target on that team. He is the focal point of that offense. And without Winston, without Hill, he's going to be relied on even more. So $8,200, I really like spending up for him. But we're also liking Austin Ekeler. He is going to be the focal point. Why is that?
I mean, not too much of an explanation needed here. Austin Ekeler, obviously one of the better running backs in the league. And this week, he's going up against that Philadelphia Eagles defense, which is suspicious at best. So we really like him. A bit cheaper than Kamara, but both of those guys can't really go wrong with.
when it comes to a cheaper option at the running back position, we're going to be playing someone like James Conner this week. And I know we've been on Edmonds a lot recently, but it looks like Conner's getting more of the touches. Conner does have a lot of touchdowns in the year. He is their touchdown man. And when you have someone in Kyler Murray who is questionable this week, maybe a bit hurt, he may have more of a workload than usual, because we do know how mobile Kyler Murray is, but if he's not able to be his full self, Conner may get more touches, and it's not like he doesn't have a favorable matchup. San Francisco's defense hasn't been up to par recently, so I think that Conner will get the touches, and at 5.3K, he's a very, very good paid out option. But to keep it simple, Ekeler, Kamara up top. There's so many good options for running backs this week that we're probably going to pay up at this position. It is also worth noting that if Josh Jacobs doesn't play, Kenyon Drake would be a great option. Same thing with McCaffrey or Barkley. You still have those backups. But on the fade side of things, if those players are hurt and unavailable to play, make sure you are watching out who you're rostering. But the fade of the week for us this week is going to be Darrell Williams from the Kansas City Chiefs. Like I mentioned earlier, we do think that Packers are going to have a lot of success against them, so they're going to be in a spot where they need to come back from being down in the game. So it's going to be a negative game streak, in my opinion, for Williams, and we're just going to take somebody else at that price tag.
Moving on to the wide receiver position, as we said at the beginning, definitely a position with a lot of options this week, a lot of guys that we really like. So starting off, who do we have first?
Yeah, the first player we're going to talk about, before I get to that, Devontae Adams, great spot this week. JaMarr Chase, he's been killing it. CeeDee Lamb, killing it. So many good options. But I'm looking at Brandon Cooks. Really weird, I know. Houston, we talk about how much they suck every single week, but if Tyrod Taylor is back, he is that offense. Brandon Cook is the Houston Texans. So if Tyrod Taylor is back, I do like his, let's say, chemistry more. I do like the way they interact more, and he does get those targets. He will be able to be a sneaky play at 6K. Another couple cheap targets we're going to like, though, is be someone like Russell Gage. He's going to be that wide receiver number one. No Calvin Ridley. He's taking some time off, so he is that focal point of that offense, along with Cordell Patterson, the running back / wide receiver. But no, I do think Russell Gage would be a really cheap option. But my favorite low price tag at the wide receiver position is going to be Rashod Bateman. Talked about him a lot the past couple weeks. He's really implementing himself into that offense, and his price hasn't adjusted accordingly. I do think 4K is way too cheap for him. We know that Minnesota's defense isn't that good. I think that he gets a lot of touches this week, and I'm liking his price tag. On the other side, the fade of the week is going to be Justin Jefferson. Tell us a bit about him.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson at a price tag of $7,500, which is quite high, near the top of that price range, because obviously he is a good wide receiver. But this last week, and the week before that as well, he hasn't exactly been looking like himself. He had a bye week in there, but he hasn't been looking like himself to the same extent recently. Put up 4.1 points last week. And this week he's going up against a pretty solid Baltimore team. So we definitely think that if you're going to pay up, get one of those other studs. Diggs too this week going up against Jacksonville. There's all the guys we talked about earlier. There are better people right at that price range. Maybe Jefferson isn't the play this week.
You said it perfectly. Moving right along to the tight end position. And this is one we have to address it. Unfortunately, Henry Ruggs will not be playing this week. And however unfortunate that situation is, that puts an even bigger workload on someone like, Hunter Renfrow, who will be a cheaper option, the wide receiver. But even more importantly, on someone like Darren Waller. Darren Waller is a massive part of that offense, and I do think he goes out there and does really, really well. I'm liking Waller, and I'm really, really liking Mark Andrews, another big focal point of that Baltimore offense. They're very good pay-up options. A cheap target I want to play this week is going to be someone like Jared Cook. We mentioned it earlier, playing the Eagles, a lot of opportunities, and he's had those opportunities in those end zone, and his price tag is not adjusted accordingly either. 3.3K, I think he exceeds that value pretty well. I'm really liking him this week as well, and I think he goes out there and does well. Final person I want to mention is
Shrek. Mason Shrek. Get him in there.
Final person I want to mention is going to be Mike Gesicki. He's facing, I know, we fade him a lot, right? We're giving him some time to shine. He's facing that Houston defense. He is a reception machine. I do think he goes out there. Him and Waddle are that offense there. And I think they go out there and they do really, really well against Houston, because who doesn't?
Reception machine if he's not knocking the ball away from between the center and the quarterback.
Oh, yeah. A fade of the week, however, is going to be Shrek.
Corporate can't tell the difference between these two pictures. It's going to be a picture of Mason Shrek and actually Shrek.
Fade of the week is going to be Dalton Schultz. Now, he's setting a price like at 4.8K, but he's not getting the same attention he was earlier to start the year. He's facing the Denver Broncos defense, first of all. But Mo Alley Cox is actually getting a lot more Stop! I'm an idiot.
He's
Molly
not on
Cox
the slate.
plays on the Bulls. The fade of the week is going to be Zach Ertz, sitting at a price tag of 4.7K. We're talking about it earlier. He's facing San Francisco, and the problem with Ertz is he's playing on a team with so many options. There's such a good wide receiver core. They have 2 stellar running backs. He's just not going to get the attention that he deserves at 4.7K. I love Zach Ertz as a value option, but I do not think he should be more expensive than Goddard, Fant, Hunter Henry, or Usava. It's more of a value play. I don't think Ertz does bad, but I'm thinking if you want to pay that much, go get Goddard, go get Fant.
Yeah.
Spend your money better ways.
All right, moving on to our favorite position, the defense and special teams. I mean,
It's their favorite position?
Yeah, it's my favorite position, bro.
Okay.
Moving on to the defense and special teams, the best position of fantasy football. The first target that we really like up near the...
This is why you're 1-7.
Woo.
I'm winning that league, by the way.
Moving on to defense and special teams, our favorite position. The first target team that we're going to try to target this week at the high end of the price range is going to be the Bills. I mean, going up against that Jacksonville offense, we all know how poor they've performed this season, and the Bills defense has been pretty strong. $4,000, which means it's not the most inflated salary ever of defense and special teams, although it is at the top of the price range this week. But a team that we like a little bit lower in the price range, more at the mid level, is the Miami Dolphins. I mean, obviously they've been struggling, but they held the GOAT Josh Allen to 3 points in the first half last week. And this week, they're not playing the Bills. They are playing the Houston Texans.
Even better.
Better than the Bills, yeah.
Yeah,
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing the Houston Texans, obviously a struggling team, not very good. We talk about them all the time. And only having a price tag of $3,100 against the Texans, we think there's definitely some value to be had there. Moving down even lower than that, we have the Falcons, who we like this week, going up against the Saints, down there at $2,500. So definitely maybe a bit more of a GPP option, or if you just end up with a lineup where you really want to pay down. But we think they could definitely do okay this week. The fade of the week, however, is going to be, maybe a little surprisingly, the Broncos. Sitting there at $3,200, so $100 more than the Dolphins are against the Texans. But they're playing a Dallas team that can put up points. I mean, they have a pretty strong offense. And especially if Dak comes back, that could be heightened even more. So not a defense that we really want to target because of that matchup and because of that price tag this week, even though the Broncos defense is traditionally relatively strong.
You said it all, and with that, that's going to seal it for week 9 of the NFL season. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. If you have any more questions, please make sure you are following us on Twitter at PlaceFade or me on Twitter at GordoGambles. At the same time, make sure to subscribe to this channel as well because there's some UFC this weekend if you don't know yet, and it is an amazing slate. So make sure to check out that video as well. Make sure to leave a like in the video as well, and yeah, let's make some money. Ding!